Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm going to make today an introductory video to my channel and put that up. I noticed some people have it because I think some people just don't get what this channel is. What an exhausting week. It's been, um, I was saying this to someone on my YouTube channel on one of the videos recently, like just today. Like I work full time, and now I'm also doing research throughout the week and doing a radio show, and it's exhausting. But at least I have a passion for trying to write. Like I'm trying to write one good song. That's my. I have to laugh at myself. That's my intention with my music is to write one song that is good, and that's a whole other story. But also, I love this band, and so I like to. I'm so happy that there's so much information out there about this band. These guys here, look at them. So weird, right? It's like so from a different time. Anyway, we'll get into that. But that's exhausting. And then, I start to get these messages about whatever, the band not playing and all that. And I've said, and I'm sorry if my computer's dinging because a lot of people are like writing to me and stuff like that. But anyway, I've said, on YouTube, I don't delete comments. So if someone says I'm deleting comments, sometimes they get put into hold by YouTube. Like, I think one of the guys, like I could tell from the comments that he made that, yeah, his comments are probably getting pushed into YouTube Studio, and I would have to go in there and then release them. And you know what? I'm not going to do that. If you're being rude enough that YouTube is automatically not showing your stuff, whatever. But then Judy was saying, and her stuff is in the comments. You can see it. I mean, it's publicly available for everyone that I was deleting her comments. I haven't deleted anything, but I went into YouTube Studio. But I want to say this about YouTube Studio. It's garbage. Like, I go into YouTube Studio, and it's like, here's all your new comments, and they're from a week and a half ago. Yet I have emails recording every comment that I've received. None of those are even in there yet. They will show up eventually, So there's a bunch of problems that I have with YouTube, But I don't delete people's comments, and so far I have not deleted people's comments. But I will now start deleting people's comments. But I'm not going to be deleting them individually. What I'm going to be doing is when someone is a pest and they slander the band, and I ask for evidence, and I give them 48 hours at least to provide evidence, and they don't, and then they continue to demean me on Facebook or through private messages, I will simply ban them from the channel. Banning someone from the channel means, according to YouTube and some of the stuff I've read, I haven't done this yet, so I don't have any first-hand knowledge on it, means that their comments will also be deleted, it says, within 48 hours. So why? Why am I doing this? So let's put on our conspiracy Donald Trump hats. I'm trying to censor people. I'm trying to censor the truth, that the Rollers didn't play on their albums, and I'm just part of that giant conspiracy. No. I have a finite number of hours in the day. I could be wrong in saying that they were a good band and that they played their instruments on their albums. I could be wrong. I don't know why that flips out fans. I don't know why I've got fans, supposedly of the band, flipping out because I say they're a good band and they played on their albums, and I've read this book, this book, this book, and this book, and this book with quotes from, people that were involved as engineers and producers and band members themselves, even the band members that didn't like the musicians so much. I don't know why it pisses them off. And you're free to come in here anytime with evidence showing that I'm wrong. What I do not have time for is someone coming in claiming they have evidence. It's not evidence. I'd have to be stupid to see it as evidence, and I don't have the time to review it. And 20 or 30 messages and then demands that other people contact them, or requests anyway, that other people... No one's going to contact. We don't have the time for this. Everyone is working very hard to provide a very positive experience for fans of the Bay City Rollers so that they can get caught up with where did the band members go, etc., etc., etc. I don't have time for it. I won't allow people to put slanderous stuff without backing it up on my channel. Because then I have to get involved and discuss it, and I don't have the time for that. Can you imagine? This is not a Facebook group where someone just starts a thread and there's an admin, and the admin is like, I don't care, say whatever you want as long as you're not like breaking the rules of the group, right? This is not like that. This is people trying to talk to me directly, claiming they have evidence, and then not providing any and wasting my time. That's called a troll, and I have no time. So I will be banning them, and that will mean that their stuff is going to get deleted. Is that going to prevent them from putting out any evidence that the band didn't play? No! Anyone can create a YouTube channel. Anyone can go into the Bay City Rollers army and create their thread after I ban them saying, here is the evidence that the band didn't play. And, you know, anyone who's in the group or anyone who is on my channel and sees this evidence and says, oh, they actually have some really good evidence, Blaine. The egg is on your face, as I said in one of my comments on my own channel today. Egg will be on my face, and I'll be like, oh, crap. Oh, that sucks, you know. But until that day comes, I don't care. You know, you provide the evidence. Put up or shut up is something I said on Facebook. But the other thing is, these people will continue and continue and continue and be demeaning and be condescending, but they also take all the information that you give them. I gave someone information today about record labels and about, band members in Japan and stuff like that, that was new to them. And they seem somewhat appreciative, but then on the other hand, they're just like, you don't know what you're talking about, and, you know, I'm going to be condescending. I don't have time for it. I really don't. Like, I have children at home. I don't need to deal with this crap on the internet, right? So these people who want to spread that information, they have so many opportunities to do that, and they can do it, you know, on Facebook or on YouTube on their own. They don't have to come after me. Sorry if that made any noise. They don't have to come after me claiming that I'm an Eric fan or whatever, and attacking me. So that's why I'm just going to start banning. Like, and I was naive when I said, "Oh, I'm not going to delete comments and blah blah blah." Well, obviously, you know, it gets to the point where you don't have time to deal with these people, and I do not need my channel being used as an opportunity to defame and slander the Bay City Rollers. Okay, it's as simple as that. Create your own channel, and you can call it Defaming the Bay City Rollers or whatever. So there was that, and then another person, and I kind of apologized to, I wish I knew who it was, you know. Let me just log in to my group here. Because there's shrapnel and like crossfire and all this other stuff, right? And then people get involved and they don't know exactly, well, they may not know exactly. So Fireball Productions got involved as well. So there's Junie, and everyone can see what Junie has written. And then Fireball Production gets involved, and it's like, well, Junie could be right, because Eric got songwriting credits for Elevator, which was written by Duncan. Is like, there's a big topic about this in the music industry today, about how many changes have to be made to a song before someone gets songwriting credits, and it's a big debate. And I agree that is a debate. And I don't know that Duncan has any problems with that. And that's the other thing, is that I don't like people, like, are you talking for Duncan? Does Duncan feel that way? Has Duncan said anything about this? And then I can discuss it. If Duncan wants to say, you know, Eric was, like, taking credit for my songwriting, then that'd be great. But the irony was that I was just watching a video, and I'm going to be getting onto this. Like, this is what the big point of this video is, of Eric today from Hawick in 2018, talking about how much he appreciated Duncan's songwriting, especially, and I was happy to hear this on Hello and Welcome Home, because like the first time I was on the dedication radio show, right, I mentioned that as one of the great songs from the Duncan era, and it's an incredible song. You know, we're talking Wings, you know, Paul McCartney level songwriting. And so I was really happy to hear that. But I don't know if there's anything animosity between those two. And there very well could be. And I've said this on other videos, that there is often animosity between band members because it's such an awful business to be in, you know? And the rules are just like, people play fast and loose with the rules all the time. Like, it's an absolute nightmare. But from my perspective, one thing I want to say about that is that sometimes when you think you're supporting someone, it doesn't go the way that you want. And I'm going to be very honest here. I didn't ever want to say this, but it's actually true. I did a bad job with Duncan stuff early on. And there was a whole bunch of people, and one of them was in a group that I was in, who was a friend of Duncan's, from what I can tell. I mean, there's lots of pictures of them together and stuff like that, who, you know, was condescendingly told me that the Bay City Rollers didn't play on any of their stuff until It's a Game. As if this is common knowledge and been documented somewhere, where it hasn't, as far as I know. But anyway, the point is, that made it very difficult, because I had people that were very positive, that were honest and said, you didn't do a good job with the Duncan era. And that's true. But it provided this wedge where suddenly it's like I'm under pressure to do justice to this era, because apparently, you know, that's the real era, and the band didn't play earlier on. And then there was also someone else, even way back then, saying, well, you know, Eric was taking songwriting credits for Elevator, and it kind of ruined the whole thing. And I'm going to tell you, I did a crap job on that, and I don't think after all of that politics that I'll ever do a good job on that. But I'll also say, I spent months this year, well, I didn't spend time for months, but for months I was talking about how great Duncan's new album is with Craig, and it's fantastic. Like, it's really a fantastic album. Nexus, just, you know what, you can leave now. Just go to Spotify or Tidal and just go ahead and listen to it, and it's a great album. And then it gets frustrating when people come after me because I like Eric's music as well, that somehow it's okay to just start tearing apart Eric. No, it's not. You know, I don't think I've said anything bad about any of the band members. I always said how important everyone was at every point in time for their success. And sometimes there wasn't success, but, you know, it doesn't matter how good you are. Success is never guaranteed. You know, but they were releasing great albums one after another, right? But I just don't think it does well for the reputation. But we see this constantly. There's constantly wars going on. But the point is, that conversation, and also it was said that, you know, Les could be lying in his book. And, you know, it's true, anyone can lie in a book, you know. But when it gets published, you think they don't want to get sued. But maybe they're still going to lie. Who knows? But, yeah. All of this is aggro to me, because no one's providing any evidence of anything. They're speculating, and I don't have time for it. You know, I don't have time. So there's two things I could do. Ignore everyone and just have a channel that just goes to crap, because it's a fairly small and intimate channel. I am not like Wings of Pegasus, which is like hundreds of thousands of viewers, right? There's a small community specifically devoted to, like, I should even branch it out, because I'm sick of putting my own music up and putting Bay City Rollers videos, but whatever. Maybe someday I'll change that. But it's a small community of people who, for the most part, are very positive. And I I don't understand how, without evidence, so many people just want to slander the band. I don't get it. But everyone was necessary in the band. I wanted to talk, like all these guys were necessary, and I've changed to another screen here so I can't see. Were necessary at this point, right? I want to talk about this guy. Ooh, bunk. Because some people might be able to say, well, you weren't too kind about Les. Well, the reason I chuckled about, I'm reading Les's book, is that everyone knows that I love Eric's songwriting with the Bay City Rollers, but in some ways even more so the 100-some-odd songs that he has written since then, right? And to hear and to read Les continually going after it as if he's not a great songwriter, to me, it seems comical. But there's other comical stuff that goes on, whatever. But this guy here, that doesn't mean I'm going to say bad things about this guy, because I'm about the music, right? And I want to say something about Les. He was such a good singer. And I've heard this from a person once removed from Eric, that he often completed recordings in one take. He was such a good singer that I forget which song it is, but on the first album, and I'm not trying to insult Woody here at all. This is just let's take Woody out of it. On the first album, Les was used to lay down a tracking vocal so that Woody could come in. And I do this with guitar. So if I'm doing vocals on something, I will record the melody on guitar, and then I'll come in and sing. And sometimes I'll even keep that melody on the guitar there. So they used Les to provide the track to follow for Woody. And then when the album Rollin' came out, they actually just used Les' track. So I don't know why that happened, and I'm not going to insult Woody, because I think Woody can sing. Everyone can sing in the band, to varying degrees. But Les was a special character because he wasn't even singing in his mind for the album. Yet it made it on the album, and he apologized in his book for if he sounded wooden or whatever, but you wouldn't know it at all. Which I think is just incredible. But it goes back to, like when I started this, like everyone played a role, and just an incredible role he played. But I was watching today several videos. I think I might be wrong about the length, but it seems like over an hour worth of videos of Eric doing a Q&A session at Hawick in 2018. Now, first of all, we have to thank Eric for doing that. Thank you so much, because I got lots of interesting information out of that. Number two, we have to thank Karen Ingram for recording it and for having it in Hawick, because now people know how to pronounce Hawick. Because I used to see it all the time and I thought it was Hawick. But that's, of course, because I'm a Canadian. So in Hawick, right? One of the cashmere capitals of the world, as far as I have read. So I have to get over there sometime and buy some cashmere. So I was watching, it's a Q&A session, and I think so far in one of the Eric Faulkner groups, there's got to be, I think there's already like 32 or more videos uploaded with different questions. But there were a few takeaways that I wanted to talk about. One, I did not know this. I don't understand how I did not hear this. Maybe I skipped something in all of the books. The Rollers, I guess, were in South Africa. This is during the Duncan period, and they were leaving, and all their equipment gets put, like, this is a thing. I don't know how musicians do it. First of all, you have to be a great musician and singers and performers. now, but you also have all this equipment that you're moving and packing up, and like if you're really wealthy, you pay people, I guess, to do all of it. But you have to get involved. But anyway, they were in South Africa and they left, and all their equipment for some reason got shipped to the States to the wrong place, and it was put in storage. And the record label would not pay to release it and to ship it, and so it was auctioned off, and the band members lost several guitars. Derek lost all of his drums. Not only did that happen, but at a very similar time, they were given a tax bill of either $300,000 or £300,000, which was more than the band had actually ever earned. And so I always thought that, Ricochet didn't sell so well, and so the band decided just to, pack it in. But what actually happened was, I think the band could have stayed together, but they lost a bunch of their equipment, and then they had this huge tax bill. Duncan was getting paid nothing, because the band is like in arrears at this point in time, I'm sure. And Alan mentioned Duncan just left. He's like, I'm sick of not being paid, right? And so that's what happened. And it all comes back to just crappy record deals and crappy record labels and bands getting ripped off. And it just continued and continued and continued. But my point is that for me, about all the members of the band, if I get to hear them, and I can understand what it is that they're doing, they all fill a role, and Ian Mitchell as well filled that role. And then I get in trouble for not mentioning other people, and it's like, well, I don't have the information. I can't tell who's playing what. I don't know what's going on here. And that's life. One of my favorite comments on one of my videos is, you don't know anything. Right? It's like, I actually accept that one, because it's not like, I don't know anything, I wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I think you can say that. But when you start to slander the band and to say that you know something that no one else knows, well, then it's like, okay, I want you to put up evidence. I don't need you to put up evidence if you think I'm an idiot. Whatever, go ahead, right? So there's that. But the other reason I wanted to hold this up is that it was a fairly emotional experience watching Eric talking. Because, look at him here. Where is he? This young guy, right? And to me, when I picked this album up, and I had the 8-track as well, these guys were the world to me. They made my life so much better. That was one of the best summers I ever had, was when I had the Rock and Roll Love Letter album. One of the best albums I've ever heard as far as pop music goes, right? So it was very nice to watch Eric doing the Q&A and talking about the experience being in the Bay City Rollers, and also, in the audience, people talking about how their children listen to his music, and how much they appreciate it, and Eric being like, well, I don't know this because there was so much trouble with lawyers and ripoffs and all this other stuff that he kind of closed the door on it, and who would blame him, right? But with regards to those videos, the other thing that I found really fascinating was that there is this song Automatic, and I will try to I think I have asked in the past if I can use Eric's songs in my videos, so I think I have used that one, so I'm going to try and put it in here. And this is a song that Clem Burke was on drums, and I had heard a little bit in the past about the fact that this was meant to be part of several songs for a Bay City Rollers album. I think Bay City Rollers album. And I don't know the year, but it's like long after the original Bay City Rollers. And it's a great song. And I was recently, somewhat recently on the radio, and I was saying that if there were other songs like that, you're looking at a top 10 album. And lo and behold, Eric brought 15 songs to that recording session. The recording session lasted for approximately 6 hours, and then everyone was fed up and left. But they got this song Automatic, which sounds like something that they had spent days in the studio recording. So it tells you how professional everyone was at that point in time that appears on that track. It's really incredible. But when you look at these other songs, it's just fascinating how great they are. And of course, Eric's not going to get every song on the album, but he provided enough songs that it's like, yeah, you can choose, let's say, five of Eric's songs off of this, go with it. It's going to be great. It's disappointing that the album never came out, but thankfully, a lot of it is available on Bandcamp in the 20th Century Music, which I really enjoy that collection of songs. And I've put a link to that in the past, but I'm going to put that link up again. What else did I learn? It was interesting listening to Eric talking about, someone asked if what instrument he would like to play, and he mentioned piano, and it's kind of funny because he's like, oh, it's difficult, and piano is brutally difficult, but guitar is also brutally difficult, and every instrument is brutally difficult. Is there something about pianists? I mean, yeah, you have to be able to carry potentially two melodies, right, at the same time, because especially if you're doing counterpoint. That's a real challenge. That's how I started playing music, actually, was playing counterpoint on piano. And it's not that hard in some ways. Really, it's about finger theory. I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but the fact is, a lot of the theory, once you become advanced with piano, is how to position your hands and which fingers to use for everything you're doing. And it's particularly challenging when you move away from diatonic chords and move more into, counterpoint generally, especially if you're dealing with counterpoint that has like a lot of chromatic stuff in it. It's not basic scales and all this other stuff. And it is challenging. But guitar is also challenging. And I find this about people is that when they master something to a certain degree, it seems easier than the other things. But the thing about piano is that you can look at a piano and in one day you can learn, all the chromatic notes, and then they just repeat, and so you can visualize it easily. Guitar is not like that at all. It takes years to understand where everything is on the guitar, outside of simply playing scales or simply playing chords. There's just so much more to it. So I find that interesting. Those were I think those were the big things from watching all of those videos. I mean, they're all interesting in their own way. It's just that I don't need to, relay all that information to you. But this is the thing I'm talking about positivity. Like, one thing is, someone asked Eric, when's part 2 of your book coming out? Because his current book ends with Nobby leaving the band, essentially, right? I think there may be a little bit about heading up to Top of the Pops, right, with Les having replaced Nobby. I can't remember because I've read so much lately. I can't remember precisely where his book leaves off, right? But one sec. Yeah, sorry about that. So someone had asked Eric when his next book is coming out. And the big point that Eric said was, I've got nothing bad to say about anyone else, any of the other guys, So if you're looking for a book like that to come out, no. And his focus is, the business part. Because in the words of one of his songs, these guys were lambs to the slaughter, right? It's very sad. It's difficult to grasp. It's very difficult, and it's difficult to emotionally handle. So I don't know how they handled it, and that's everyone, all the way up to the last the band members on Ricochet. Um, yeah, it's hard to even imagine. But the fact is, a lot of positivity. I didn't see a lot of talking about negativity about anything other than the business process and the fact that the business process is completely broken. And also how now with streaming, the contracts are even worse than they were before. Nobody can make money. You have to tour. And, it's so funny because there's a joke on the Hard Times about, bands essentially being t-shirt salesmen, and Eric makes that point. He's like, you make your money off of your t-shirts, and that all goes back to when you also look at how the Rollers were ripped off. They had all of that official merchandise that they didn't seem to get any of the money from that as well. And in today's day and age, that's your bread and butter, your merch desk, t-shirts, maybe some CD sales, whatever. But anyway, it was all very fascinating. Once again, I'm so glad Eric did that. That was 2018. He didn't have to do it. He did it. I appreciate it. I like information. And so while I'm going to be banning people that, make slanderous comments and don't back them up, that doesn't mean I don't like to receive information. I like information. It's just that the information has to be backed up in some way. And now even this thing about Eric getting writing credits on Elevator, well, that is backed up. He does have writing credits on Elevator, the song, right? But unless Duncan wants to say something about how that unfolded and that he's unhappy with that, I can't really respond to that. But the other point is, it's totally not related to the discussion that matter that we were having, which was people claiming that the Rollers didn't play on their first 4 albums at all, right? So that's why that happens. Oh, but this is the other thing I wanted to say. I don't want to get in a fight with someone about Duncan. And that's another reason why when people are stirring stuff up without providing evidence, I'd prefer to just say, you know what? Make your own video and you're banned, because I don't want to get in a fight with someone else who, yeah, you can take their side, but if you also don't have any evidence, now we're going to have this fight, and I don't have time for it, right? And I'm seeing now that people use this as an opportunity to try to destroy the stuff I've done, not by simply just saying something, but by perpetually just coming in with stuff that has no evidence behind it, right? So naive me, yes, I will delete, yes, I will ban, because I don't get paid for this, and it is a free world, and you can put your videos on YouTube. You can even make a video saying Blaine's an idiot, and you can have fun with that, and you can have some laughs with your friends. So anyway, have a good night. If you're in some of the Eric Faulkner groups with Karen Ingram, I recommend going to watch those videos, the Q&A sessions from Hawick in 2018. I am so appreciative that they were put up. I really enjoyed them. It was a great Saturday after an exhausting week with a bunch of BS to actually just sit back and listen to these conversations. It was great. Thank you. One other thing I want to say. I was talking about that Bay City Rollers album, which was to be, and in one of the videos, it is mentioned that the Roller World, which is one of my favorite live recordings of all time, was meant to be a disc provided with the new Bay City Rollers album, right? It was supposed to be a freebie disc included. Can you imagine? I love that recording so much, and it was nice today because I had some people were mentioning, it's like, yeah, that is their best recording, and then other people were appreciative that I had shared it in the Bay City Rollers Army group. I really do think it is a very special moment, even with all the problems the band had, and they were going to be splitting up soon, and there was animosity and everything else. They still put on one heck of a show in Japan. Incredible. Everyone that was there, so fortunate. Congratulations to them. Anyway, that's it for me today. That's my update. Thank you very much.